What's up, docs? Defender of caregivers. How you doing? You see what I just did there? I've been struggling with how to remind you that you're also a defender of caregivers, and I didn't want to continually describe myself as the defender of caregivers. So what's up, docs? Today, as I continue to learn to share the defender of caregivers message through ordinary everyday life, rather than getting on a stage somewhere in, Fort Lauderdale, although I don't mind going to Fort Lauderdale. Today, we're going to talk about two cognitive distortions, labeling and mislabeling, and how that feeds into emotional reasoning. With labeling and mislabeling, you assign a label, a negative name to yourself or to others, like I'm lazy, I'm fat, I'm a chump, I'm a pain in the butt, whatever. And then, having done that, you start to double down on that label. You live to the label. And then you become, when you're using colorful language, you're probably doing labeling or mislabeling. You're probably a little bit emotional. And I'll explain to you some real examples about that. But these cognitive distortions, these caregiver distortions, they feed on each other. After you do that, you slip into what's called emotional reasoning. And it's kind of like, because I think, therefore I am. It is what it is. You believe something, it's emotional, it's not real, but because you're emotional about it, the more you think it, the more emotional you get, the more true you think it is, and none of it's real. None of it's real. I hate to keep harping on this, but you really gotta take care of yourself. You gotta listen. Sometimes you need to listen to other people in order to be able to do that. I had this breathing thing. I kept telling the doctor, how am I supposed to know I'm in AFib? Because I don't have any symptoms. I had symptoms. I'm breathing so much better. And I wasn't in denial. It wasn't this macho man stuff like ignoring chest pain. It was that I wasn't aware. And I needed other people to help me with that perspective. And once I had that perspective, I actually did something about it. And I'm so proud of myself for taking care of myself. And I'm not doing it to take care of others. I'm doing it to take care of me. I will take care of others because that's who I am. Today, we're going to get into some cool stuff in the sense that if you've been following this channel at all, and if you haven't, I'd love for you to do so, and I'd love for you to share it with other people. But you'll know that I've got a lot of projects that are kind of halfway done. What you don't know is that I've finished some of them. So I even accepted help in order to finish some of them. The bathroom that we were redoing, not remodeling, but just beautifying, I hired a plumber to do the final hookups on that. It was just something that I just knew I wasn't going to do that well and didn't really want to do it anymore. So I did accept help. I allowed someone else in. We went to the dump. We allowed people into our day by entering theirs, and we learned perspective. So today, hopefully, you're going to see us get a little closer to finishing some of these projects. And it's leg day again. It's check that out. Hopefully we don't get the same outcome we had on the last leg day, but it's beautiful weather here. It's been really up and down, getting really sunny and warm and then cold again, but I think we're making a turn. I wish I could show you all of these hostas and things that are coming up. I gotta learn how to do like a time lapse, do a picture every day, because it's amazing how one day there's nothing and then the next day everything's popping. So we'll be back at you in a minute. While we're in the middle of these projects, we'll talk a little bit more about labeling and mislabeling and emotional reasoning. Thanks for being here. What's up, docs, defender of caregivers? Here I go again, being lazy, playing around instead of doing work. I'm lazy. I'm a slacker. There's times where I believe that, and then I tell people what I did for the weekend, and doesn't sound like much to me, but they're like, wow. They're like, sometimes they'll say, did you have any fun? I'm like, hell yeah, I can't think of anything more fun. And I genuinely mean that. But honestly, this is the time of the season where I feel like, we get stuff going, we get stuff cleaned up, and it sets us up to have fun. It's all a progression. No need for a label on any given day or any given moment, good or bad. They're both. Nothing wrong with a label every now and then, but you really should try it on for size, and you should try another label on. You know, like if you say something about yourself that's negative, try saying something to yourself about that's positive, and try and dwell on that just as much as you would the negative. What's up, buddy? My mom's taken recently to referring to herself as a PIA. You know what that means, right? A pain in the ass. And I'm like, Mom, you're just now getting around to that now? I mean, that's what you were, you know, 40 years ago when I was a kid trying to explore life. And you wouldn't let me. You're the furthest thing from that now. You're a godsend to your children. You made a difficult decision. You knew that the property you lived on and which you loved was too isolated, too much maintenance, too far away from any of your kids. And you unilaterally made a decision for our benefit, and I'm grateful that it's worked out for your benefit as well, to move into a retirement community, because that's a decision. Families, you're anything but a pain in the ass. You're a blessing to your children. You're our savior. You continue to be the bond for our family without being that burden that you labeled yourself to being. And in your case, you know, you self-labeled, and then you spent some time emotional reasoning, believing it more and more, where, you know, just because you believe it, it doesn't mean it's true. But then you did something about it. You relieved your own angst, and you relieved ours, and we didn't even know we had it yet. We got to learn to be nice to ourselves, because we believe what we tell ourselves more than what other people tell us. I got a fire to tend to, and I got work to do, so stick around. I know, bud. To be or not to be, that is the question. And this is why Chance won't hang out with me today. We're gonna cut on this tree in a bit, buddy. Here's a label. Sometimes I believe it, sometimes I don't. But like right now, I'm going through this doubt of, okay, are you just having fun? You burning this fire to get rid of this old rotten wood because you don't want to pay to take it somewhere? You don't want to junk up your yard? Aren't you supposed to burn it inside? Well, you've convinced yourself that it's too rotten to go in there because you're lazy, you know, because you piled it here and you didn't do anything with it, and you know, now it's just going to waste. So I'm gonna see if this one will split. I already know a lot of this stuff won't. It's just mush. This is the only, you know, I gotta get rid of it. I can't use it. I wanna stack my wood pile. Truth of the matter is, I wanna clear my lawn. I wanna try out that new chainsaw for that tree we took down. And I wanna get all this stuff to where we can just start enjoying the summer. See, as dry as this is, as long as it's been here, it should have just split very easily. And it didn't. So maybe I'm smart. Think about that, would you? Actually, a little bit in between. That was easier than I thought it would be. This is some of the wood that Leon split. There's 4 piles like this around here. Kid's a stud, and I'm a slouch. Whoops, there we go again. He's a stud, and I'm an older stud that can't do as much as fast or as good as he can. I'm joking right now. The kid came over here and split all this wood in one day, in about 2 hours. You saw me splitting wood earlier. Chance is a pain in the butt. I love this dog to death. You all think he's perfect because he's cute. And he does stay with me most of the time, but every now and then he wanders off. And he thinks he owns the world. Somebody comes by on a boat, he owns the river. Somebody goes by in a car, he owns the road. Somebody comes into their own neighborhood, their own yard, he owns their yard. Hey, where are you going, bud? Come on. I want to talk a little bit more about labeling and mislabeling, and how what you tell yourself matters and what you tell other people matters, and you got to be aware of that. I wasn't kidding earlier when I felt guilty because I was, burning this wood outside instead of inside. Well, I got a neighbor, one of my best friends in the world. We call him Good Looking Joe. You want to talk about labeling? We call him Good Looking Joe, and I'm just, schlubby Lon. My wife always tells me, Vicky always says how good he dresses and all that stuff. I mean, he's Good Looking Joe. Can you imagine the pressure he's under to be Good Looking Joe? Whereas me, this is just au naturel. He works at it. I come by this naturally. He, when he has friends, and he'll invite me, but when he has friends over, he has a bonfire out on the patio, and he comes over and he borrows this wood. And that's Good Looking Joe having a bonfire. How come I can't burn this wood and feel just as good about it? If you're saying things good about others and bad about yourself, and if you're using terms that are, really emotional, check yourself. Think. Can you use another term? Can you spin it and put a positive on it? So we're going to wrap this video up mainly because it's a little hot for this fire. It's a beautiful day. I had fun this morning, but Good Looking Joe invited me out to dinner tonight. So we're going to wrap this up and we're going to get ready and maybe go out on the boat or something like that. So thanks for being here. We'll be right back to wrap it up. Hey buddy, this is better. No bees. Now, if you want to learn more about being a caregiver, you might be a caregiver if sayings, you might be a redneck, you might be a caregiver if I got thousands of these sayings over at Facebook on Defender of Caregivers. But if you want to learn more about the personality of a caregiver, whether it's nature or nurture, go to youmightbeacaregiver.com and check it out. But in the meantime, if you're enjoying these videos, because I know I'm learning a lot about myself and I'm really enjoying this. If you're enjoying these or if you're learning from these, please subscribe or share them with others. But in the meantime, as you care for others, think of yourself as you care for others. In everything you do, think also of you. Honor yourself as you care for others. And thank you for caring.